Hey everybody, Young Rogue here, as you're seeing on the other screen. So today I wanted to bring to y'all's attention a lot of the PS5, PlayStation 5 info they have released. There have been a lot of announcements lately regarding price, release date, the specs of it. Of course, when you're looking at specs on any kind of technology, it could look like a bunch of jargon and gobbledygook if you don't know what you're reading. So not only am I going to list them, I'm going to explain them in layman's terms, so everybody's got a good grip on what they're looking at. First thing, of course, we all want to know when it's coming out. There isn't an exact date yet, but they did say holiday 2020. So next year, probably around October or November, right in time, you know, get it for Christmas, Black Friday sales, and all that good stuff. The price, they said, is going to be somewhere between $500 and $600. That's not bad at all. If you go back to the PlayStation 2 so long ago, that came out at about $350 for the console. You times that with inflation of today that would be about a $650 console. So $600 brand new with everything I'm about to mention inside of this and all its features and compatibilities is not bad at all. Kind of, I wouldn't say a steal, but you know, it's not bad as a launch point. Okay, let's get into some specs. So the processor on it, the brain of the system, the thing that makes everything do its thing. We're looking at a Ryzen 7 series, which is a pretty top tier PC chip. It's got 8 cores, 16 threads, clocked at 3.2 gigahertz. That is a really nice, fast, multifunctional processor. This is also one of the very first gaming consoles, home consoles, to not have an APU but a CPU. The difference is an APU is like an integrated chipset to the motherboard. It's like a built-in processor. Usually not as strong, not as fast, doesn't compute as well. Whereas this being an actual central processing unit, it's a chip by itself that they're going to interweave into the board. Pretty much, layman's terms, faster, stronger, smarter. Okay? Next is the RAM. Now, for those that don't know what RAM is memory, but not like for saving songs and so forth. RAM is operating memory. This allows multiple things like when you're on your computer or your phone, opening multiple tabs and windows and so forth. It allows it to have enough memory to remember where you are at all times on all things. We're looking at 24 gigabytes total, 20 gigabytes of GDDR6, that's top of the line video RAM, specifically for running the game and any other functions, party chats, video editing, so forth that you might do, with the other 4 being DDR4, which is the common standard in computers today, set aside just for the operating system. So you have 4 gigs just so the PlayStation knows what to do at all times, which is plenty of room for just the operating system, and then the other 20 going directly for playing and all sorts of other things with the machine. The graphics unit so far is, it's not a specific graphics card like when you're looking up for PC parts, okay? It's more of an assimilated one. So we have it's going to be the equivalent of an RX 5700 XT. That's an AMD card, and it's actually part of their newest line, so it's going to be completely up to date. It's 7 nanometers, which means it's very tiny. It's about the size of the top part of your finger, okay, like your finger, not your fingertip, but the actual pad. It's not very big at all, and it's amazing that it has the power it does. It's going to come with, they're trying to go with either 12.6 or 14.2 teraflops. Now, a teraflop is basically how many animated images can be processed and handled at a time. You know, we've all been playing a game at some point, and you're fighting an enemy, and it's got a lot of effects going on with its attacks, and right in the middle of its big attack with all those effects, your game freezes. That's because there wasn't enough teraflops to push through all that and process it and handle it correctly onto your display, so it froze. I want to say the PS4 had maybe like 6.5 teraflops. So we're looking at a double, if not a 2.5 times increase from the PS4, which is amazing. It's also going to fully support 4K ultra high def, 4K ultra high def graphics with HDR. They will run at 60 frames per second, which is mind-blowing for a console. On a PC, it is what it is. That's about standard, but for a console, that's amazing. It's also going to have 8K upscaling. So it's not true 8K, but they can take, 4K image and buff it up even further if you have a 4K monitor or television. And that will run at 30 frames per second. It will support up to a 120 hertz refresh rate. To explain that, especially with shooters. So say you're playing Call of Duty or Destiny like we have going on in the background, and you're running through. If the refresh rate most of the time nowadays is 60, that's kind of base standard right now. It's filling in blank pixels with what it remembers, so it looks like a consistent image. In shooters, this can be kind of annoying because you didn't see that person coming around the corner yet, and they got you when, if they had a faster refresh rate, they seen you 2 seconds ago. So it does support up to 120 hertz. That is amazing. On a storage note, now storage being the memory for installing your games, saving your save files, screenshots, so forth and so on. You're looking standard a 2 terabyte solid state drive. A solid state drive is, to shorthand it, the newest version of a hard drive. The load times will basically be non-existent. For instance, they did an example of the engine running it with the Marvel Spider-Man for PS4. On a PS4 Pro, what they did, they started the game on the PS4 Pro and on the PS5 engine at the same exact time. From starting menu to the loading and actually playing of the first cinematic of the game, the PS4 Pro took 15 seconds to load from menu to start a video, whereas the PS5 engine jumped from menu to start of cinematic in less than a second. It was actually 0.8 of a second. Another good thing is, without the need for additional hardware like soundbars and so forth, it is going to have built-in 3D audio. So if you've got a soundbar, surround system in your house, or just use a really nice gaming headset with stereo surround in it, the audio quality is going to be amazing. Back when you could just hear footsteps or gunshots coming from a specific direction around you, it's going to be more pinpoint. It's going to be a lot easier to sense. If you're in, say, watching a movie or in a game where it's a big war scene and you're in the middle of the battle, it's going to be easier to hear from the left, this army and their language with their type of weaponry going off, and you're going to be able to, distinguish between the different sounds, between birds chirping and the hummingbirds buzzing and the wind blowing. It's just going to be amazing. They also said on another graphics note that it will support ray tracing. This is something no console has ever had before. This is from light particles to water effects to the way it just... everything, all the little effects nobody pays too much attention to, like you notice, but you don't really pay attention to, are going to stand out so much more and be that much more realistic. So we're looking at a much more immersive experience with this upcoming system. It's going to be great. It's going to be complete backwards compatible with PS4 and PSVR. And they're working on an emulation engine software that might be an update shortly after it comes out, or it might come with it already. They haven't quite specified that, but they're working on an emulation software that will not only allow you to download all your PS1, PS2, and PS3 games, but if you still actually have the physical disc, you can put them right in your system. So, for me, Legacy of Kain was a huge series I loved back on PlayStation 1 and 2, and it would mean that if I still had my discs, I get my PS5, I can play those again, and it would upscale them. It's going to have 2 video ports. Once again, this is the first time on a console where you've been able to do split monitors. You might have seen some PC setups where the person's got you know, 2, 3, 4 monitors. One's got their Facebook up, the other one YouTube, one's got a game, the other one's got, you know, stock market info, whatever. But it's going to be able to run 2 monitors on that 4K, 8K note. I highly suggest you take your tax return and go with that, because that's about the only way you're going to be able to afford 2 8K TV sets. We're also looking at USB 3.5 connections, so faster data transfer and faster charging for the devices connected, and it's going to come standard with a 5G network. Cell phones aren't even really on that level yet. I think there's only like one company, and it's not even true 5G, but that means you'll be able to handle speeds, download speeds up to 1.7 gigabits per second. Gigabits, not gigabytes. I'm not going into the difference there. Google it. But, you know, 1.7 gigs, so super fast, zero lag, and blinking downloads, as I like to call them. You know, you start download, you blink once or twice, boom, ready to play. On the titles announced, there's only been a handful that have been confirmed and a few that have been mentioned, not so much on PS5, but next gen. Don't expect them on the PS4. It's going to be next gen is when they're coming out, and the ones that are announced so far include The Elder Scrolls 6. That would be the next part of the series after Skyrim, for those that only know by the name Skyrim, casuals. GTA 6, Grand Theft Auto 6, which from what I understand other reports say is going to be based back in the Miami area, so the Vice City area, except it's going to include all of Florida, and they're supposed to be adding crazy effects. Given the hardware in this system, I don't see it being a rumor. You know, they're talking about we're going to have hurricanes and all kinds of crazy stuff in Grand Theft Auto 6, and it's going to be all of Florida, with online expansions to combine the other cities. And then, let's see, here's one I'm really excited for, Elden Ring. This is a game made by From Software, Miyazaki. Shout out Dark Souls, praise the sun. But he got together with George R.R. Martin, I believe is his name, the guy who wrote all the Game of Thrones books and, you know, the TV show and so forth. They've partnered up and are coming out with another big open world RPG with the Souls-esque feel to it, which I can't wait for. It's called Elden Ring. That's another one. You got Death Stranding. Us PlayStation people know of this. It's a game starring Norman Reedus, Daryl off The Walking Dead. I forget what his name was, but one of the twins off the Boondock Saints. You know, he's a big guy that everyone loves. But he's the main character in that, and that title looks crazy. And then, of course, we have The Last of Us 2. Both of these that I just named will be on the PS4. They will be released for the PS4. But they will, of course, be released and much enhanced for the PS5 when it comes out. And, of course, we can always expect a Call of Duty and all the other yearly casual titles. Yes, I call them casual titles because, let's be honest, that's what they are. They are reproduced, repainted things every year that they shove out every year right around the same time to get the biggest buck. That's all it is. I do love Call of Duty Zombies, but other than that, Call of Duty has just become... They fell off a while ago. But that's not what this video is about. This video is about the PS5. But so far, that is everything I have found and been able to look up. There's a couple different designs that people are showing right now with the dev kits out. There's not exactly a definite on what it's going to look like. There's no way to tell exactly what the controller is going to look like. I'm sure in about 6 months we'll have a preview, a strong preview of what everything's going to look like. But as of right now, there's no exact look to it. You Google PS5 on Google, of course on Google, and you click images and you're going to get all of these crazy designs. So I wouldn't fall into any of those traps. Just wait another 6-8 months and we'll have a definite look at this thing. And on a friendly and good note for y'all that, you know, you're not big into jumping right as soon as the new consoles drop. You don't want to waste your money with them being a lot of bugs, or maybe you're just not, you know, well off enough, which is understandable, to buy it as soon as it comes out. The good news is, Sony has already stated that the PS4 is still going to be their primary focus for the first 3 years after the PS5 drops. So that means there's still going to be big AAA name brand titles that come out for it. There's still going to be network support. There's still going to be updates and upgrades. And, of course, the network and servers are still going to be running on all your favorite games. So don't spaz and think, oh, man, I've only got about another year before I got to drop all this money. No, you'll still be fine. And also, like I said, with the backwards compatibility, even if I were to grab one, all my friends I still play with on PS4, as long as we have the same games, I'll still be able to hop in and play with them. So it's not a big push, all right? But anyway, That's all I'm going to put into this. That's all that's known right now. I'll catch y'all on the flip-flop. Go ahead and finish watching my Nightfall video from Destiny this week. It's what's going on in the background right now. And y'all stay jiggly.
Guardians. I might have an idea. Let's find Takeo.
Getting a little dicey down here. You need to turn back.
Hang in there. We're on our way. Takeo, listen. We can use the crystals to disrupt the ritual. We can beat this.
No! Turn back! Yeah, great idea. But there aren't any powered crystals in here. Never mind. We're going with that plan.
But you said there aren't any crystals.
Not yet.
She sacrificed herself. You did not die in vain. our chance. Well, we did it. Wish we'd had time to think of another way. We did it.